Hey everyone, today I'm going to give you some advice and tips on how to find and lease the perfect horse. I have been riding for about 12 years and have leased a lot throughout that time. And these are tips that I have picked up over the years that has helped me find my horse Rio. So let's get started. So, first up, you want to have a budget plan because let's face it, horses are expensive. It is one of the most expensive sports in the world. So, a budget plan is going to help you figure out how much you have to spend for a horse. On your budget plan, you need to have a few things. First, you need to have your monthly income. So, all the money that you make a month from your jobs or any little special things that you do, whether it's babysitting or if you work in a hospital or whatnot. The second thing you need to have is your monthly bills: car note, mortgage, cell phone bill. I don't know if you're paying a credit card. You need to have all of those monthly bills on there. And then once you figure out the total amount that you have left over for a horse, you need to also include if you're putting money away in a savings or money away in an emergency fund, just in case of your car breaks down or you need to buy a new phone, just in case something happens. Once you have that number, that is the um, that is the amount that you have left over to spend on a horse. So once you figure out the amount of money that you have left to spend on a horse, you need to figure out your price range. And you should not go over what you have left from your budget plan, the money that you have left from your budget plan. You shouldn't go over that number. You should be either below it or just about equal to that. So, for example, in my budget plan, I had about $500 to spend. So when looking for a horse, I am not looking for one that is $600 a month. I have to look for something either $500 or less a month. So you want to figure out your price range. Next, you want to make a list, and this list needs to consist of everything you want on a horse, whether it is a gelding or a mare, whether it's bay or white, if it jumps, if it does dressage, you want a barrel racing horse, a horse you can go trail riding on. It should be everything that you want on there. And you should have it listed 1 through 10 or 1 through 20 or however many things you can come up with, and have what you definitely need at the top and what you could live without, possibly couldn't live without, what you really don't need at the bottom. Have it listed 1 through 10 or 1 through whatever. Also, too, on this list, make sure that it is realistic for your current situation and a little bit of the future. So, if I ride 2 foot, I am not putting on the list a horse that jumps 3 foot. Um, it's gonna be some years before I get to the 3 foot range. So the current horse that I am looking for should fall about no jumping no more higher than about 2.6. When I get to 2.6, then I can reevaluate if I want to jump 3 foot or continue getting to there. So make sure that on your list it is realistic to a little bit of the future, but to your current situation of where you're at. Then next, what you want to do is look around and first check your barn. Check your barn because a lot of barns, a lot of big barns, have these cool programs that is basically you lease a horse and you go show up 3 days a week and you have those 3 days set, and basically you don't have to worry about anything. You ride, you can show this horse, and that's about it. And you can either do a half lease or a full lease, and those programs are really cool. You find that with a lot of really big barns that do a lot of lessons, that have like 50 lesson horses and 50 leasing horses, and tons of boarders, and that's where you find those kind of programs at. And so if your barn has a program like that, check there first. They may have a horse that's available for you to lease there. Also, too, go to your trainer. Let her know, since you've already made this budget plan and you already have your list of everything you're looking for. Go to them and be like, okay, this is what I'm looking for a horse, and this is how much money I have to spend a month for this horse. And trainers work in a realm of networking. Everybody knows everyone. Say if you take 5 trainers from Michigan and stick them all in one room, I guarantee you they either have bought a horse from each other, or they know each other, or they've heard of each other. Some way, somehow, they know each other. So they will be able to, communicate with each other to find you the horse that you are looking for. Also, to check online. There are a couple of cool online sites that I'll have posted below in the description box of where you can find the horse that you're looking for. I ended up finding mine's online and also two in my barn. It's a weird story. I had looked online to find my current horse, Rio, and sure enough, I found him, but he was also two at my barn, and none of us knew. And so online does work too. Once you find that horse, you do also want to decide if you want a half lease or full lease. With a full lease, that means what it is. It's a full lease. You are not sharing it with anybody. That means that you will have a lot more responsibilities in terms of that lease, which we'll get into in a minute. Or you can do a half lease, which is that you're sharing that horse with somebody else who is leasing the other half of that lease. A lot of your bills and expenses that you have on that horse, the responsibilities you have on that horse, is cut in half. You also too have to share your time with riding. So instead of like with a full lease, you can go out and ride whenever you want, 7 days a week. With a half lease, you have to communicate with the other person, and you guys sometimes have a set schedule. So you may have a schedule set that Monday, Wednesday, and Friday you ride, and then the other person rides Tuesday, Wednesday, and Saturday, and those are their set days to ride. Or you could be riding, Mondays in the mornings are your time to ride, and Tuesday nights are their time, or however you make the schedule. So you have to decide if you want to do a full lease or half lease, and also to figure out if when you find this horse, if the horse is available for full lease or half lease. So once you have found this horse, you want to learn about their vices. And what vices is bad habits. If they're a cribber, if they're hard to keep weight on, if they don't like staying hydrated, if they bite, if they run away, if they can't be turned out by themselves, which actually is not a vice. I don't know why I just said that, but trailering, if they're very hard to get into a trailer, if they don't clip well, if bathing is a struggle. You want to figure out what these vices are. Oh, yeah, my favorite vice. I can't believe I forgot it. Stopping. If you're a jumper and they like to stop in front of a jump, you need to know that. So once you find this horse, you need to know about their vices. Then also too, you want to see how long you can do a trial run, because you just don't want to go, this is the horse, I found it, let's start. No, you want to do a trial run. And typically trial runs can last about a week or two. I was very fortunate enough to be able to do a trial run on my horse for a month, just with how my circumstance was. I was getting ready for surgery, and also at the same time too, with my work schedule. I work in an ER at a hospital, so I work 12 hours a day and 3 or 4 times a week, and sometimes I work 2 days a week. It fluctuates so much that we didn't know how often I could come to the barn to try this horse. So the owner was very nice enough to let me use this horse for a month with no worry to try and make sure that this would be a right fit for me. So you need to do a trial run to make sure that you want to do this horse and stick with this horse. The next thing that you're going to have to do is, you've done the trial run, you've done the budget, you've made the list, you've talked to your trainer, you have found this horse. Now it's time for all three of you guys to sit down and figure out what the agreement or the contract is going to be. How long you're going to lease this horse. If you're going to lease this horse for 6 months, if you're going to lease this horse for a year or even 2 years. You need to figure out what the agreement is going to be. Also, too, within the agreement, and this is where what I was saying with the half lease and the full lease, the extra responsibilities are going to be. When I do a half lease on Rio, and with the half lease, I have to pay for supplements and I pay half of vet bills and half a board. With a full lease, someone at my barn who does a full lease has to pay for vet bills, board, and I can't remember the third thing, but they pay everything fully. It is all them. It's basically owning the horse, but they can return it at any time. Basically like a car. So you have to figure out in your contract agreement how long you're going to lease and what all the responsibilities are going to be. Also, too, within the contract agreement, it is good to ask if you need to take insurance out on this horse. Some owners, if you are deciding to, if you find this horse that does not go to your barn, but you want to have it at your barn to be able to train and do everything with your trainer. Some owners want to have you take out insurance on their horse just in case anything happens. So during the contract agreement and your trainer writing it up and everything, you want to make sure if you need to take insurance out, how much insurance you want to take out, if you really want to do that, and so on and so forth. So you want to do a contract agreement. So the next step after the contract agreement is not signing on the dotted line. You hear that? Do not sign on the dotted line. Not just yet. You want to go over your budget one more time because, like I stated earlier, horses are expensive. And if in your contract agreement they say you have to pay for supplements, you have to get a chiropractor for this horse, or whatever the case may be, you want to make sure that you can afford it, that your budget covers it. Like I said, for Rio, he was under 500, and that was including me paying for supplements. And for occasion, when I decided to have a chiropractor come out and have him get an electric blanket and all that cool stuff, it was under the 500 a month. That was my budget, so I could go ahead and afford those things. If the person that you're talking to, the owner, is saying, okay, supplements cost about this much and it is over your budget, don't sign. Just for the sheer fact is you can't afford it. Why would you try to get something you cannot afford? So make sure that it falls in your budget. So when all of that's said and done, and you've checked everything, you've checked your budget twice, you've ridden this horse and you're like, this is it, you found him, it is everything you want, then you can sign on the dotted line and enjoy your new baby. Because let's face it, you've done all of this work and it is, you've earned the chance to just relax and enjoy them, and you should. So that's it. If you guys have any questions, don't hesitate to leave a comment or message me, and I will answer them to the best of my ability. Other than that, see you guys later.